Hi, this is Julia from Avatar Academy. Let me describe a situation you probably know very well. You are speaking English, the sentences are correct, the grammar is mostly fine, and the other person understands you, but still something feels off. Your words feel light, your message feels weak. You finish speaking and think, that didn't sound like what I wanted to say. It feels like your English carries information, but not weight. This is what many intermediate learners experience, especially at the B1-B2 level. Your English is no longer wrong, but it is not deep. It sounds flat. And the problem is not vocabulary size or grammar knowledge. The problem is how ideas are built and delivered. In your native language, when you speak, you don't just share facts. You share context, intention, emotion, and perspective. Your sentences are connected to each other. They grow. They develop. In English, many learners stop too early. They say the basic idea and then move on, even though there is much more they could express. This happens because your brain is still focused on survival mode. At this stage, your main goal is to be understood, not to be expressive. So you choose safe sentences, short sentences, familiar structures. This keeps communication clear, but it removes depth. Depth in language comes from elaboration. Elaboration means staying with the idea longer. It means explaining why something matters, how it connects to something else, or what it leads to. When you don't elaborate, your speech sounds flat too quickly. Another reason your English feels flat is lack of perspective. Many learners describe situations, but they don't add their viewpoint. They say what happened, but not what they think about it. They explain events, but not impact. This makes the language feel mechanical instead of human. At the B1 to B2 level, the biggest shift you need to make is moving from describing to reflecting. Reflection adds depth. It turns simple statements into meaningful communication. For example, instead of stopping after one sentence, fluent speakers naturally continue. They add reasons, consequences, or contrasts. They don't do this because they know more grammar. They do it because their brain is trained to develop ideas, not just state them. Another hidden factor is fear of losing control. Many learners keep their sentences short because they are afraid of making mistakes if they continue. This fear limits expression. Ironically, depth actually makes speaking easier, not harder. The more context you create, the more support your brain has to continue. There is also the issue of internal translation. When you translate from your native language, you often translate the main idea but skip the supporting thoughts. Translation feels tiring, so your brain chooses the shortest path. This results in correct but shallow English. To add depth, you need to shift from sentence thinking to idea thinking. An idea is bigger than a sentence. It has layers. When you allow yourself to stay inside the idea, your English becomes richer automatically. Research in applied linguistics shows that advanced speakers use more connected discourse. This means their sentences are linked logically. They use cause, contrast, explanation, and clarification naturally. They don't rush to finish. They guide the listener. Another important point is emotional distance. When learners speak English, they often disconnect emotionally. They focus so much on correctness that they forget to feel what they are saying. Emotion adds emphasis. It changes tone. It creates depth. Even small emotional signals, like showing uncertainty, agreement, or doubt, make speech feel more real. Your English might also sound flat because you rely too much on neutral language. Neutral language is safe, but it lacks color. Fluent speakers adjust their tone. Sometimes they soften ideas. Sometimes they strengthen them. This variation gives language presence. Depth also comes from examples. When you add a small example or personal reference, your message becomes clearer and more memorable. You don't need long stories. Even brief references add dimension. Another reason flat speech appears is speed. When you speak too fast, you don't give ideas time to develop. Slowing down slightly, not in pronunciation but in thought, allows your brain to expand naturally. At the B1 to B2 level, silence is not your enemy. Silence is space. Space allows ideas to grow. Many learners rush because they think silence looks weak. In reality, controlled pauses show confidence. Let's also talk about listening. If you mostly listen to short clips or simple content, your brain does not get enough exposure to developed speech. Long-form listening trains your brain to follow ideas over time. This is essential for depth. When you hear depth regularly, you start producing it unconsciously. Depth is not about sounding intelligent. It is about being complete. When your message feels complete, it feels strong. Even simple language can sound powerful if the idea is fully expressed. So if your English feels flat, don't panic. It means you have reached a stage where correctness is no longer enough. Your brain is ready for expansion. You don't need more rules. You need more connection. Stay with your ideas longer. Add perspective. Allow emotion. Don't rush to finish. Let your English breathe. This is how you move from understandable English to expressive English. This is how depth begins. Before you leave, make sure to join our Telegram group to download the worksheet for this episode and practice expanding ideas in real contexts. You'll also find exercises that help you add depth and confidence to your speaking. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. The links are in the description. This is Julia from Avatar Academy.